This chapter will describe the progression of inappropriate anger and the potential consequences. I will describe ways to assess where you are and what can happen both in a positive and negative way.
This next section is going to be on the progression of a fight. It'll give you some information about what's healthy and other information about how to gauge issues with inappropriate anger. Healthy couples work together. When a positive argument starts, there are usually no long-lasting negative effects, and life goes on. Although there are exceptions, inappropriate arguing and fighting are a major cause of discontent and distrust in a relationship. When a couple argue daily or often, questions about the status of the relationship start. The couple is more likely to get tired, depressed, frustrated, hurt, confused, worried, and more. I think it's important to recognize that there is a healthy range of anger and then there is an unhealthy area of anger. So I separate those into three categories: green, yellow, and red. Green has a wide range of possibilities, but within that range, the anger is healthy. It may have some level of volume, it may have some serious looks attached to it, but it doesn't intimidate, threaten, humiliate, or embarrass the individual. Yellow means that it's starting to get possibly unhealthy. There may be a certain level of sarcasm, certain comments that are made, but usually a person may, if they're healthy, will recognize that it's getting to a point where it could be unhealthy for the couple. And then there's red. Red is usually more of a control. A person is not concerned about the other person. There may be intimidation, threats, humiliation, embarrassment. It can take the form of abuses. So when it gets to red, it can go from a mild red where somebody's feelings are hurt to the most dangerous part of red where somebody could be killed. It's also important to recognize that the quiet person may be as angry as the dramatic person. They just have different styles and can be healthy or unhealthy. Here are some examples of the different ranges of anger. So in the top row, you have somebody who is reflecting on some things that may have upset them. You have somebody who sees something that upsets them, but they're thinking about how they may want to respond to that. They give a certain look and then may have a response that they think is healthy and appropriate. In the middle, you may have somebody who's not happy about certain things. They may show a level of volume, have body language that's looks somewhat threatening, and then in the very bottom you have where the range where it's getting to be dangerous. People starting to have dirty looks, pointing fingers, looking like they're about ready to attack someone, or on the one picture on the bottom right, it actually looks like somebody's about ready to get hit. Remember from an earlier slide that over 50% of relationships end within 5 years. So how is it that a couple goes from "I love you, I want to spend my life with you, you are the one," to, and excuse my language, "fuck you, get out, I never want to see you again, you're the biggest mistake of my life"? All of this within 5 years. Prior to the point where a relationship becomes serious, people date and, for lack of a better term, they become friends with benefits. However, at some point, both make a decision to get serious. Virtually everyone knows that there is a honeymoon period in a relationship. Things are dreamy and wonderful, then issues start. How a couple addresses this part of the relationship is crucial and is usually a sign of things to come.
These next two slides can help individuals or couples assess which line they are on. The heart on the left is the starting point of a serious relationship. Things typically go well for that honeymoon period talked about earlier. At some point, though, the relationship will need to address problems, issues, concerns, changes, different beliefs, or ways of doing things. The two lines show how the relationship evolves. Virtually everyone I have talked to said they want to live on the top line. These couples continually give proof that they appreciate and respect each other and that the relationship is important. They don't find the relationship difficult because this way of living becomes their norm. The relationship isn't without problems, but The couple take whatever steps are necessary to maintain the relationship, and if necessary, steps to restore it if serious problems come up. Ask a couple that have been together for 30, 40, or 50 years what their secret was, and although there are many answers, the most common answer is, we are best friends with each other. The second most common answer is, we can talk about anything. I know there are also couples who just tolerate each other, but the point I'm making here is that there are many people who experience the comfort and ease of living with their best friend and doing what is necessary to help the relationship thrive. Unfortunately, way too many couples find themselves on the bottom line, living a life similar to a terminal illness. At this point, and forgive my language, one or both start to notice more and more problems in the relationship. They don't solve the problem well, and instead start gathering shit on each other, represented by the brown balls in this picture. This begins what I see as an emotional divorce from the relationship. At some point, both experience the horrible feelings of living on this line. They may tolerate each other and may actually try to treat each other differently. This usually doesn't last long. The shitball grows, and the couple now become more distant, stagnant, and emotionally detached from each other, but still live together. Even worse is when one member of the relationship would like it restored, but the other shows no effort or desire to do so. Ultimately, one or both decide the relationship isn't going to work, which now means their goal is to split up. Both will likely experience many mixed emotions during this time. Two major emotions are fear and anger. Other emotions often experienced are anxiety, depression, loss, powerlessness, frustration, confusion, sadness, revenge, and more. I'm sure as you look at this slide, it reminds you of someone you know, or possibly yourself. Each of these families has the ability to resolve their issues. Each could also end up in family court. Sometimes the issues become so heated that someone not only ends up in family court, someone gets hurt, and the other ends up in criminal court. If there is violence by one of the parents in the bottom two slides, what do you think the violent parents' chances are of getting equal time with their children after the parents split up? Family court recognizes that many couples choose to not come up with a plan to restore the relationship. To help this process along, they have a plan, forms, and procedures to help end a relationship. As the parents split up, one or both often hire an attorney to get what they think they deserve, or to keep the other person from getting what they think the other person doesn't deserve. The attorney will usually ask, "What can I do for you?" The client will likely respond with something like, "I want to get a divorce," or "I want my children to live primarily with me," or "I want what's mine." Both now dislike each other. They soon know the other has an attorney. And there's also the fear of not getting what they want or losing what they think they should have. Thus begins the long, emotionally painful process of splitting up. The attorney has to fill out paperwork for the court and will ask their client a lot of questions, not the least of which might be, what makes you believe you are a better parent than the other? What assets do you think should be yours? What assets do you have and where are they? And do you have concerns regarding your soon-to-be ex? Much of this paperwork will at some point be presented to a judge who, after reviewing all the information, will make a judgment. How many times do you think the judge is going to read a statement from one attorney saying something nice about the other party, or both parties saying nice things about each other? There are different types of attorneys. Some want couples to work out a healthy arrangement. Others have reputations designed to strike fear in those who oppose them. The primary goal of the attorneys is to represent their client. The important point here is that the lifeline of this relationship has gone from "I love you," skipped over a plan to help save the relationship, to a plan that helps win in court, which many times has a lose-lose result. The children are split, the home is split, and the wounds last for decades. I'm not saying some relationships shouldn't end. What I am saying is that it is important to recognize what slope a person or couple is on and do something to fix it, earlier than later. Then stick with it.